You know, we went to the GE conference, and some of us in the room went to the GE conference. And the GE Foundation has been incredible partners for us. They have given us a lot of support. And one of the things they do at their conferences, they have amazing speakers. And you know, you don't remember, I hate to tell it, the whole conference, but you remember moments about the conference. And there was a man named Stephen Pemberton who was a speaker, and he's now an author. And he talked about his childhood. He grew up in foster care. So he showed us a picture, and he was 6 or 7 years old, of the first picture that anybody ever took of him. And that was a really special picture because he had been moved from foster homes to foster homes. And he would told the story about how he sat on a concrete step and read a book. And he only had one book. So when he got to the end, he started at the beginning and started reading it again. Well, there was a woman who noticed Stephen sitting on this ledge reading the same book over and over again. And she went to her home and gathered books and dropped off a box of books for Stephen and continued to do that through his childhood. So the reason Stephen became such an avid reader was because of a woman he didn't even know. But that was an important moment in his life. He also talked about when he got to go to Boston College because of the great educators that helped him know that he could go to college. But he didn't have family members. So Stephen was the one who was taking families' pictures because he didn't have a family with him. But he is now the vice president of Walgreens, and he's the chief diversity officer for Walgreens. And he has a family, 3 children, and a wonderful wife. And he talked about how those moments led him to that end. And then there was a woman named Consuelo Kickbush. She grew up in a barrio in Laredo, Texas, and she didn't speak English when she went to school. So the teacher, thinking she was being helpful, said, "We're going to name you Connie, because Connie will be easier for you to spell." Her name was Consuelo. It was her mother's name. So needless to say, she ended up in the principal's office. And the principal advocated for her and insisted that the teacher call her Consuelo, which was her name. She went into the military, had a renowned career in the military, but it really was somebody in high school. There's more before she got into the military. There were 2 lines, one for kids that were going the academic route and one for other kids. And she got in the academic route line, and some people said, no, you need to be in this line. And it was actually an Hispanic teacher that was trying to get her out of the academic line. So it was another teacher that actually went to her home and said to Consuelo, the mother, that I'm going to help Consuelo get to college. And she did go to college. But it was the effort of an individual that changed Consuelo Kickbush's life. So it gets to think, because we all have really great positions of responsibility and power that we can impact students' lives. And I bet each one of you could recount moments in your life that brought you to this seat, to this place, to this position where you can empower students to succeed. So I started thinking about my own life and what were those moments. You know, I grew up in Milwaukee. In 1st grade, I was one of 7 Donnas in 1st grade. So a 4th of the class was named Donna. And I think it had to do something with Donna Reed. And I'm nothing like Donna Reed, right? But we had all these Donnas, so they numbered us in alphabetical order. So I think I was Donna number 5. But I can remember the day when I actually got moved from the 2nd reading group to the 1st reading group. Now that is a big deal when you get moved to the 1st reading group. So you know what? That felt really good, but what do you do when you get moved from the 2nd reading group to the 1st reading group? You read a lot to stay in the first reading group, right? So every Saturday, I would go to the library, to the public library. My dad would take me and we would get books, and I would read those books. And then in the class, there was a chain where you put a loop in every time you read a book. So my chain, I can tell you, was really long. Then in second grade, I got to my desk, and there was a note on my desk that the teacher had written. The teacher wrote, "I think you could be the valedictorian." I didn't know what that meant. So I ran home, remember these? Got the dictionary and looked up the word valedictorian. This person believed that I could be the valedictorian. That person empowered me to want to be the valedictorian. Then in junior high, my algebra teacher said, "I think you should work for NASA." NASA? I grew up in Milwaukee. NASA is not in Milwaukee, you know that, right? So this person thought I could work for NASA because I was really, really good at math. Wow, that empowered me to think differently about what I could do. Well, I did earn a 4-year scholarship to Marquette because I learned to read well and I worked hard and I got a scholarship. And Marquette's in Milwaukee, right? So my future mother-in-law, not mother-in-law at the time, said, "You are going to waste a 4-year scholarship on education? You need to be a dentist." And I'm like, "I don't want to be a dentist. You have to put your hands in people's mouths like all the time. I want to be a teacher because you empower people and you change their lives like these people changed mine." So I fought the people that were saying, be something other than a teacher. How many of you fought somebody saying, don't go into education? Look at all of you, right? But we did it anyway because we're stubborn. So when I got to be a teacher, the principal stood in the library and told us how important we were and how important what we did was. So I taught for 7 years, and that principal was the kind of principal who brought you things, carried things, make sure you had what you needed so that you could do the best job ever. But then after 7 years, I went to him and I said, "You know what? I'm thinking about administration," because you get a lot of keys, right, in administration. And you get to wear this, right, in administration. And I expected John Phillips to say, "You are going to be brilliant in administration because you're a superstar teacher and you're just going to be brilliant." You know what he said instead? He said, "You'll be good at that because you have common sense. And common sense is an uncommon thing." Now, how many of you in your leadership roles use that common sense pretty much every hour on the hour, right? So he was right, and I found it interesting. Our keynote's going to be David Novak. If you read his book talks about the need to have common sense as a leader. So how smart was John Phillips? Well, then I got that first administrative job, and I don't think I thought I was all that. I got to be an assistant principal. And I had a phone on my desk. Oh my gosh. I was used to standing up at the counter, making doctor's appointments and whatever, like teachers had to do before cell phones. And I had a phone on my desk. So maybe I was strutting or something because of this phone on my desk. And you remember Wilson, that movie that you talked to, I guess that was a different kind of a ball. This is a soccer ball. This is Danny. Danny was a soccer coach and a social studies teacher. The first day of my assistant principal career, Danny said to me, "You know you're nothing more than support." Oh my goodness, wasn't he right? There are two kinds of people in the world: those who directly impact students and those who support the people who impact students. Both are exactly the same importance. Both can't happen without the other. There's a mutual interdependence, lateral colleagues, but wasn't Danny right? We support the people who impact students directly. So I appreciate Danny very much. You know, we all sit on a three-legged stool. One of the legs of the stool is our family. One of the legs of the stool is the school, the education that you get. And then the third leg is the community. Each student has to have a platform upon which to succeed. So sometimes when one leg isn't as strong, the other two legs have to get stronger to create that solid platform upon which to learn. So I had a great family. I got very lucky. I have two wonderful parents. My dad was a truck driver. They grew up on a farm, so they moved to Milwaukee because that would be where they wanted to raise their kids. So my mom, because she grew up on a farm, never got to go to high school, but she's stubborn. Do you see like a connection between my mom and I? She's stubborn, and she got her GED to prove that she was as smart as everybody else. But she didn't get that opportunity. So she would say to me, I think you should be a secretary. And secretaries are wonderful people. And she said, that's what I would have wanted to be if I had had a chance. So you know what? I'm the fastest typer there is, and I can actually take shorthand, but don't ask me to do it now, because that's what my mom thought I should be. My dad, when I said, I think I'm going to go to college, you know, these people think I should go to college, he said, Donald, he called me Donald. He said, Donald, you can go to college, but I'm not going to pay for it. That's where the scholarship came in really handy. And he used to keep, he was like the banker. When you needed money for books, he had a little book in his shirt pocket, and he would give you the money. He would give you the loan. So if you needed a couple $100s for books, he would give you the loan, but then he would mark it down. And when you worked, you had to pay him, so he would cross off what you owed. But he thought people who went to college, I guess that would be all of us in this room, didn't do real work. Because in his world, truck drivers did the real work. The people who went to college sat in the office and drank coffee and wore shirts and ties. So he was the worker, they were the ones that went to college. But he said to me, he said, you can go, again, but I'm not going to pay for it. So I've asked him now, and he's 80, I've asked him, Dad, what do you think about college now? Because I have 3 degrees, and he goes, Donald, you took a different path. And I guess it worked out for you. So he's still not sold on the college thing. And of course, I had a really strong support network in education and a really strong connection to a faith community. So I really had a solid foundation upon which to learn. So how does someone, this is Donna number 5 in 1st grade. Look at those bangs, they're not even straight. No teeth. How does Donna number 5 go to superintendent of the Jefferson County Public School System? Because all of these people empowered it, and people empowered you to be here. So we have a great responsibility to empower other kids to know what's possible. Now this is Annabella Clare. This is my granddaughter. Let's go through Annabella Clare's stool. She has a 2 parents, Josh and Tiffany. Josh is my son. They both have college degrees. She goes to a daycare where they teach her sign language. So she can sign, and she knows all of her ABCs and everything. And of course, she has a strong connection to a faith community. This is Annabella Clare at Walnut Creek Amphitheater in Raleigh, North Carolina, at a concert at age 2.5. She's already been on her first college visit to Duke University. Ew. One of my degrees is from Chapel Hill, so what we all have in common is a hatred for Duke University. But you know what? If Annabella Claire really wants to go to Duke, Grammy, because that sounds much cooler than Grandma, Grammy sends her a book a month and a college check. So if she ends up at Duke, Grammy will be okay with that. Her second college visit was to Georgetown University. This is my daughter Jenna, who graduated from Georgetown this spring. So Annabella Claire got to see a real graduation at Georgetown University. And of course, Grammy and everybody in her life teaches her constantly. So this is Grammy on the floor at Starbucks, going over her letters before the graduation starts. So Annabella Claire has a much different stool to rest on than I had, than maybe you had. But think of what we do to strengthen the stools to empower our students. And that education piece is their ticket. It was your ticket to where you started, to sitting right here in the jobs that you have. And it will be their ticket also. So we have this incredible responsibility. And you know what? We talk about big rocks a lot. And there are big rocks that we need to focus on. And one of the big rocks is, these are kind of heavy because they're big rocks. This is PGES and all the evaluation systems. We are all learning how to support each other to become better every day at what we do. And it's all about continuous improvement. So from the boardroom to the superintendent's level to the classroom, we all need to learn how to be better every day so that we can serve our students well. The other big rock is PLCs, working together in teams, looking at data, solving problems. Teachers solve them instructionally and designing instruction that truly reaches every student. And then, of course, the other big rock is the support network, right? The system of support that every child in our school deserves. And that includes all of those pieces: PBIS, restorative practices, mental health support, Louisville Linked. All of those things have to work so that our students can have those needs taken care of so that they can focus on learning. And I'm going to introduce a fourth big rock this year. This rock is communication. When we were in the airport coming back from the GE conference, so the people in the airport that were JCPS employees were talking about who had been named to the principalship. And I said, well, how do you get that information? I follow Tony. I get a tweet from Tony. It's like, what? We got to work on communication. We've got to make sure that we communicate to each other in this lateral way that we have responsibility. And I read a book that talked about the democratization of information. Information is power. We should all have it. So one of the new big rocks for this year, or a continued big rock, is going to be really to improve communication so that we all have the information that we need, because that's a way to empower people.
Hello, my name is O.C. Holland, and I'm a recent 2014 graduate of Southern High School. When I first arrived at Southern, thank you. When I first arrived at Southern as a sophomore, I was like any other high schooler. I was nervous, yet excited, but more importantly, I was desperate to find my way. See, I wanted to fly, but there was one problem. I could not find my wings because I was yet trying to find my legs.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Sheely O'Neill, and I'm a counselor, Southern High School. I'll never forget the day I met OC. It was homecoming week, and you know our principals, they had to make us wear pajamas. We've laughed about that for a while, but it was only after a short time that I knew he was something special. He had this unmatched drive. He challenged everyone in our building, not only the students, but the staff. There were days he would bring programs to me and so many opportunities that he would take advantage of. He was never afraid. He always attacked every challenge with everything in him.
And that's when I learned respect is earned, not given.
Morning, I'm Bruce Carley. I was lucky enough to have OC as a student before he graduated. All I did was open doors to rooms that OC already has inside of him. I offered him opportunity in class to pursue his passions and inspirations. Outside of class, we gave him enrichment programs with the after-school art program. OC is proof that no matter where a student's at in his development, that with high expectations and encouragement, a student can achieve great things.
And that's when I learned if I am willing to persevere, the people who have my best interests at heart will allow me to find my goals and meet them effectively. Now I had my legs, and I was ready to use them to run so I can take off.
I'm Jennifer Freeman, English teacher. When OC joined Future Educators Association, or FEA, the best way to support him was to remove every obstacle in his path so that he can reach his fullest potential. I signed him up for leadership programs all over the city, oftentimes without his knowledge. He loved it. I pushed him to do new things, and I was by his side through every adventure. Lastly, when he decided to run for National FEA President, I was by his side. He was recently inducted as National FEA President in Washington, D.C. It was a very proud moment for us. So we set a goal. We developed a plan. We implemented the plan. We made adjustments when needed. We reached our goal, and we reflected on the journey.
Good morning. My name is Bryce Hibbard. I'm the principal. Hillary Clinton once had a message, "It takes a village." Well, it's obvious at Southern, we have a village made up of Mr. Carley, Ms. Freeman, Dr. O'Neill, grandparents, parents, staff, and other teachers. Our village has become our house. And at our house, there is hope. There is hope because there is support. We often talk to our students about taking advantage of opportunities that are afforded you. This staff created those opportunities, and to his credit, OC has taken advantage.
They say that you're born to lead. And that might be the case. But I believe in order to know that you're a leader, you must be given the opportunities to prove that you can lead. I was given these opportunities at Southern. As a senior class president, the FEA chapter president, the FEA national president, the Key Club vice president, and of course the chairperson of the student advisory.
On and on and on. The important thing is, one by one, we made a difference.
And one by one, we created opportunities.
And together, we empower.
So now I'm a flying cardinal at the University of Louisville, soaring high as a McConnell Scholar and Porter Scholar. And I just want to thank you all for making that possible for me. Thank you.
So, you know, we make pledges, but our students make pledges as well. Zuri White King is from Foster Elementary. She's in the 5th grade. So tell me what you want to be when you grow up.
I want to be a doctor and a basketball player.
A doctor and a basketball player. Wow. And that's fabulous. So we're for you, and we know that we're here to support you. But I understand there's a pledge at Foster. Would you do what do students at Foster pledge to do?
They pledge to be successful and be smart.
Be successful and be smart. So you're going to do your pledge.
Okay. I will rise to the highest expectations. I will take responsibility for my actions. I will never give up, therefore I cannot fail. I am successful, I am smart, I am college and career bound. We are Foster.
Wow. Excellent. Thank you. This is Ayanta Riley from the Street Academy. So tell me what you want to be. What's your dream?
My dream is to become a Major League Baseball player, but if I don't complete that, I would like to get a degree in marine biology.
Great. Those are great goals. So at the Street Academy, there's also a pledge. So please do that pledge.
Our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measures. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, talented, handsome, gorgeous, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of light. Your plain smart does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the light within us. It is not just in some, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Wow. Great job. We have fabulous students in the Jefferson County Public School system. My third friend is Jonathan Drury, who's in 4th grade at Atkinson. So what do you want to be, Jonathan?
I want to be a basketball player and a cop.
Wonderful, because then you can help people. Aren't those great goals and dreams? And do you have a pledge at Atkinson? What do the students at Atkinson pledge to do? Do your pledge.
We pledge to be proud and to have heart.
Okay, and do you have a pledge that you say in the morning?
Yes.
Say that pledge for us.
I am proud of me. I am proud of my teacher. I am proud of my school. Each day I pledge to show how much I care. Demonstrate character. Meet all challenges. Get ready for college.
Wow, fabulous. So this is the reason we exist, to empower students like these 3 students to succeed. So what I want you to do is stand and you're going to repeat after me, and let's make a pledge to these students. Okay, you're going to repeat after me. And these students represent our 101,000 amazing students. I pledge to empower you, to learn, to grow, to achieve, to succeed. Let's give these students a hand, and that concludes this part. You guys are awesome. So wonderful. Great job.